Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you today. I was just gonna talk a little bit about the upcoming. I don't even know if it's upcoming, but I think that honestly, the rumors are in the air. Jeff Jarrett is admitting that he has a announcement to make. He just hasn't made it yet. But for the last few, little bit, we've been hearing rumors about Jeff Jarrett leaving TNA to start his own wrestling company, and he's gonna be using, I guess, his and Toby Keith's money. Honestly, in my mind, if they want to blow Toby Keith's money, they're more than welcome to do it. But honestly, in my mind, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is starting basically the same way that, TNA started, and basically maybe he just is upset with Dixie Carter taking over his company, and maybe he thought that Dixie Carter was just going to be, Panda Industry, and they were going to be paying the bills, and basically she took over the company, and she ran it in a different direction that he wanted to do it. But honestly, when you look at it, I think it's going to be hard to overtake a position in wrestling. Maybe you can look at it and say that Ring of Honor's fallen and they're not a strong number 3. But still, TNA is locked in on number 2, and I don't really see them really going anywhere in the near future. They'll find a place in order to film Impact. I know that's the big story, is that they're basically locked out of Universal Studios because they didn't sign up or ask to be there, and now the Stage 19 where they booked Impact is now booked for something else. But honestly, just I don't know. I mean, you saw what happened to TNA. TNA is a starter organization. They had the monthly, or not even monthly, I apologize. They had the weekly pay-per-views on Wednesday nights that you could buy for, I don't even remember how much they cost because I never bought them. But they weren't that much. It just was a lot when you looked at it as, okay, Monday Night Raw is on Monday, and if I pay my cable bill, I get to watch that show for basically for free. And now I have to pay, I think it was $15, it might have been $12 a week in order to follow this wrestling company. And although that might not be that much for one show, but they're going to have a show next Wednesday, and then they're going to have a show the next Wednesday, and then they're going to have a show the next Wednesday. And then that adds up. I'm paying my normal cable bill because I have to have a provider in order to get pay-per-view. And on top of that, now if the shows were $15, now I'm paying a $60 pay-per-view bill just to watch one wrestling company. And basically, you can say that, to follow Ring of Honor before they had the TV thing when they were at their hottest, back in 2010, you had to buy all the house show, and you had to buy all the big, show DVDs in order to get to where the iPay-per-views were, in order to follow them, unless you were just watching the stuff on the YouTube channel they were putting up, were like highlights and films and stuff like that. But I don't know. I want to say that it's a bad idea, but I think that, this is America, and people have, the right to dream and do anything they want to do. And if Jeff Jarrett really does think that he can, get a wrestling company going, which is going to be as big as WWE is, you can easily say that when they had the Joe vs. Angle stuff going on, that was about as close as they were to overtaking WWE. They were really close. WWE in that time was making a lot of mistakes. People were really sick of seeing John Cena, and they just didn't want to see it. WWE really didn't change anything that they were doing. By the time that TNA got Hogan and they got Bischoff, and they made a lot of more foolish signings, and they brought in, and they were paying a lot of money out, and they decided to go head-to-head and do the Monday Night Wars, Impact versus Raw. Honestly, it just, they weren't what they once were. They had a better roster, per se, but I mean, the roster that they had was just a whole bunch of names that wrestled a long time ago. And, they just really weren't the wrestlers they once were. And people might tune in for the name value, but they were tuning out as fast as they saw that these guys weren't going out there and giving what they once were 10 years ago, or let alone giving what they did when they were on WWE, because honestly, a lot of them were on, like, who gives a fuck sort of thing. You can point your finger at Booker T and other guys like that were going there just for a paycheck. But at the same time, they had guys like Christian Cage going out there and wrestling because they wanted, WWE to take notice and basically take him back and put him in a more bigger position, because they were losing their spot in TNA with other names coming in. I know that Jim Ross has stated in his blog that he had a meeting or he didn't really say it was a meeting. He was hanging out with Toby Keith, and Toby Keith and Jeff Jarrett are so connected right now that you think any wrestling names that they're talking to are people that they're talking to in order to get them into the company. Meltzer and Alvarez talked for a brief second about AJ Styles, and they were saying maybe AJ was waiting to see what Jeff was doing with this company. Maybe he'd want to go in there and become Jeff Jarrett's #1 big star. That's another thing. Who the fuck are they going to sign for this company? A lot of these guys are already inked up for WWE. They're going to be inked up in TNA. They're going to be inked up in Ring of Honor. All these, companies, have contracts. You can't just bail out because you say you're going somewhere else. WWE rarely releases anybody. We were trying to figure out who the last time anybody got released from WWE and without asking for it or their contract expiring. And the last time we had one of those days that I could figure out was back in 2011 when Gail Kim, Chris Masters, Vladimir Kozlov, and it was another diva got released all on the same day. I don't know. Kind of crazy. Maybe they can go out there and sign some indie guys, but maybe it would work. I mean, when TNA first got started, it was a lot of guys you'd never really seen or heard before. But I don't know. It's more of a gamble that I would do. I don't have a ton of money, but I wouldn't put my money into this. But you never know. You might be able to put in a little bit and get a lot back as a reward. So I don't know. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's going to be hard to take even a number 3 or number 2 spot over in the wrestling thing. There's no way in the world anybody's going to be able to compete with WWE unless you just get Magic in there. And maybe signing Kurt Angle was a whole bunch of luck. But I don't know. Weird.